It's the nation's favourite antiques experts.
Howdy, little lady.
Behind the wheel of a classic car.
Oh, yes.
And a goal to scar Britain for antiques.
Looking for some bargains?
The aim? To make the biggest profit at auction. But it's no mean feat. There'll be worthy winners.
Yes.
It is my lucky day.
And valiant losers.
I actually can't believe that.
Annoying.
Will it be the high road to glory?
Yo. Or the slow road to disaster.
This is Antiques Road Trip. Yeah.
We're now almost halfway around with our glamorous couple in the oh-so-snazzy faux Jag.
I feel like we're getting into our groove now together.
Yeah, I've honestly really enjoyed this week.
I think we're very quickly becoming the dream team.
We should do something after this. Like, how about going antique shopping together?
Absolutely.
Just for a change, eh? Mind you, despite their tender years, youthful Tim Medhurst and by his side, the even more fresh-faced Hetty Jago are awfully fond of buying old stuff. It's just a question of finding it.
Talk to me, Goose. Where are we going? Where are we going? I don't know.
Oxfordshire, actually. Hetty may be many things, but navigator probably isn't one of them, due to her lack of travel savvy.
So you know you get those maps of the world where when you go on holiday you can scratch off where you've been?
Yeah.
You should get one of the UK.
I think I should, actually.
Good idea.
Plus, she could always make Tim plot the route and get behind the wheel of the motor herself.
Do you enjoy my driving? Yeah. Yeah, that was so convincing.
Dorset's own Tim, actually born in Essex, is a dealer who can be fiendishly competitive with his road trip hat on.
I'd go for it.
No, I saw it there.
Whilst Somerset reared and Nottingham residing Hetty is an auctioneer, a dealer, and a relative newbie to the rigours of this malarkey.
Can you click your heels? Oh, you did it!
Did I?
Yes!
And after a couple of tight tussles, Tim's ahead.
£70.
Let's get to the 100.
100.
Come on, a little bit more.
It's gonna go. 110.
All of which means that our former auctioneer has a 2-0 lead in our best-of-5 competition. But with 3 to go, either of the pair can still dream of winning.
What's the highest price item you've ever sold where you're on the rostrum and you've got that excitement of the bidding going really high?
It was a watch. Yeah.
So was mine.
Really?
This time, of course, they have another £200 with which to purchase that game-changing treasure.
And maybe I should buy a watch for the road trip.
Maybe you shouldn't, because I don't really want you to win.
Good point. They started out in Sussex and then headed north, meaning Hetty will be able to scratch off several shires on her map. Then, after doing the middle, they'll make for somewhere she's much more familiar with, Devon.
Antiques Road Trip is a roller coaster of experiences.
It is.
Not half. Today's travels will take them all the way to an auction in Banbury. But we begin in Henley-on-Thames. The former hood of Beatle and Life of Brian producer George Harrison. Here comes Tim, having already deposited his chum. He's got £200 to spend at Tudor House Antiques, and anyone not yet convinced that antiques is the new rock and roll should know that Led Zeppelin's Jimmy Page once shopped here.
Isn't that a really smart lamp? I really like this. It's probably to do with medicine, but now they can be reused. You know, you can wire them up and use it as a reading lamp. It adds a bit of character to your house. But this one's really well made. It's chromium plated. And on here, it looks like it's got Bakelite mounts, which to me makes me think it's probably maybe between 1930 and 1950, that sort of period. And I love how fully adjustable it is. I mean, you can move all of this around, twist it around, goes up and down, and it's got a really solid iron base as well. Look at that, you can give it a good old wobble and it'll be back where it started.
Just like a mic stand.
Price-wise, £120. That is a big chunk of my entire budget, but I do think it would probably be worth just finding out what the best possible price would be, and maybe that'll make my decision for me. If I could get it for 80, I'd be in with a chance, so I'll see what we can do.
A man with a plan. Meanwhile, a few miles upriver, Hetty's about to weigh anchor in the Berkshire town of Reading. At Fanny's. Also the name of one of the first successful all-female rock bands, of course.
So, what will she spend her £200 on?
When you imagine a Victorian gentleman, you may very well imagine a very extravagant moustache. Now, that was the fashion back then, but the problem with that was that you couldn't really drink anything or eat anything without affecting the beauty of your moustache. Now, this little thing was the solution to that problem. So this area here would protect your moustache to stop the wax from melting into your drink. So it's quite a clever invention. It was probably invented around 1860, 1870, I think. So mid-Victorian.
Every gent should have one. £10.
Now, I don't have a moustache. It's probably not really very beneficial for me, but I'm sure Tim would appreciate it. However, while I'm over here, I have just spotted something very shiny. Now, these are set with amber, and amber is essentially tree resin that's fossilised. There are different types of amber, and this type is called Baltic amber, and this is the type where you get little bits of insects, you get bits of sediment in it, so there's a bit more going on in Baltic amber.
The Latin and Greek names for the substance have similar meanings to beaming sun.
There's a way to test for amber, so you know whether it's real or not, and if you've got a bead necklace and you put it in salt water, if the beads float, then it's real amber. If they sink, it's plastic. So that's a really good test to work out whether your jewellery is real amber. But I really like the design. You've got this beautiful little leaf here. It's set in silver, I can see the hallmark straight away. And also it feels like silver. Now this ring, I can't see any marks on that one, but they're very much the same sort of style. So I think these would sell really well as a mixed lot. They're £15 and £5. They're a really good price. I think they're definitely coming with me to auction.
Decisive stuff. Back to Henley, where Tim's taken a shine to this rather pricey lamp. But meanwhile, out in the yard...
Oh, look, it's a little mortar full of water. Get that out of there. That's quite a nice little mortar, actually. Looks to me like a granite one rather than marble. Often with these, they are carved out of one piece. But this being granite, still quite nice. Always very hard to date these because the design is quite timeless. Even medieval mortars look like this. But I'd say this one probably looks like it's more a 19th century one to me. And it's built up this really nice patina from being outdoors. And aside of actually using it for its original purpose as a mortar, you could just use it to pot a flower up outside. It's got no price on it, but this type of thing does sell quite well in auction. So I'm quite tempted just to see how much it is, and if it's cheap enough, I'll take it on, I think. But for now, I think I probably need to go and wash my hands.
Exactly. I'm sure Dave can advise on the whereabouts. Maybe also recommend his clocks.
Well, that looks interesting. Oh, that's nice. It's what we'd call a drop dial wall clock. And I quite like this one particularly because of the cipher here, Elizabeth II, which would probably date this to, I suppose, around the 1950s. But underneath here as well, GPO, which is the General Post Office. I quite like it. It's very decorative. The paint itself looks to me like it's almost original sort of 1950s paint. And it's a lovely, lovely red colour that you would associate with a post office.
The GPO was sadly abolished in 1969.
The dial itself has nice original enamel on it. The hands, they've been replaced at some point, but the price is what grabs me. £50 for a wall clock like that. I think that's pretty reasonable. So I think that could be a contender. And also, a little fact about the GPO, which is a reason why I really, really like this, is the General Post Office were the first to introduce a speaking clock, and the speaking clock was nicknamed Tim, because you would have to dial 846 to get the time through your telephone, and 846 on a dial-up telephone spells TIM. So I think this clock pretty much has my name on it.
Me too! He's got a couple of other items to discuss as well, remember? One of them costing 120. So it's just as well that Dave's now sitting comfortably.
Dave, hello.
You found something?
I have. I enjoy looking around your shop.
Good man.
I found this clock, but I've also found in the shed out the back angle poise lamp.
Yeah.
And also on the floor a mortar full of water.
Okay.
This has got 50 and the lamp 120, and I'm struggling with the 120 a bit. What do you think?
So the mortar is at £10.
That's a done deal.
And the clock, 35.
Okay, what about the lamp?
have to be 90. So what have we got? We've got 90, 135, 130 for the 3 items. David, done? Deal.
Thanks, Dave. So, still 10 for the mortar and 35 for the clock, but just 85 for the lamp.
Right, I know how to tell the time now.
Thank you very much.
£70 left over then.
I think I've got time for a coffee.
More Hetty now, in nearby Reading, where the rummaging thus far has produced some inexpensive amber jewellery.
Wow. I love this so much. I really, really love anything fairground related. And this has caught my eye immediately. Look at the colours. The only thing that is slightly concerning me is it doesn't look in beautiful condition. There is a lot of paint peeling off. I've just noticed it doesn't actually have any hair or a tail. So it does need a lot of restoration, but it's the sort of thing that someone could do really, really beautifully. I used to be an artist, so everything inside me is screaming to decorate this horse. And I reckon I could do quite a good job.
No mention of any prices yet, however.
I really want to take this to auction. In fact, I'd like it to take me to auction.
She's not horsing about.
It has £150 on the ticket. Now, if I were to buy this at £150, I'd have very little to spend for the rest of the leg. So it is quite a big risk, but I really, really like it. I really like it.
All right, all right. I'm sure Julia can sort something out.
Hello, Julia.
Hello, Hetty.
I found these beautiful bits of jewellery. You've got £15 on the brooch and £5 on the ring, but also I have fallen in love with that carousel horse.
Really?
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got 150 on that one. If I were to buy all 3 items, what could you do on price for me?
I think we could go to 130,
Is there any movement a little bit lower? 110?
115.
115. Yeah, that sounds very fair. I'll shake your hand at 115.
Extremely fair, making Dobbin 100 and the amber 15.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go and grab the horse.
Okay.
So thank you. Take care.
And she's as good as her word. Very chuffed look. And now, while Hetty departs from Reading with £85 remaining, we'll catch up with Tim, taking a brief break from shopping in a shopping centre. Yep, he's travelled to nearby Slough, or Safety Town as it was once known, thanks to a very stripy invention.
The first zebra crossing that was installed in the entire world was right here. As you see, it is not here anymore, which is because Slough was being redeveloped in the 1970s.
Is there any sign of where it used to be?
There is nothing to indicate where it was, which is a shame, but it was one of the 100 trial sites around the UK where the different types of pedestrian crossings were being tested. And Slough was the closest one to the laboratory where the designs were being tested.
Tijal works for the Transport Research Laboratory, the safety division of which was established in the town in 1946. One of its first tasks was to come up with a new type of pedestrian crossing.
The original crossings consisted of metal studs on the road with Belisha beacons on either side.
Oh, right, okay.
But we soon came to realize that these were not the safest options. So a lot of research went into finding a safer way to help pedestrians cross roads. And the scientists realized that the black and white lines were the most conspicuous in helping vehicles notice pedestrians, because when you walk across them, there is a transition from the black and white.
Now, the term zebra crossing, I'm presuming, is just used because zebras are black and white.
Well, the nickname is quite obvious, but nobody really knows who actually coined the phrase zebra crossing.
Oh, okay.
And it set the precedent for all other variations of pedestrian crossings.
Ah, a pelican crossing.
Exactly. So all crossings are now named after animals.
That's interesting.
Well, do you know what a toucan crossing is?
Nope.
A toucan crossing is similar to a pelican crossing, but it's for both pedestrians and cyclists, so it's a toucan.
Oh, okay.
The operation was headed by George Charlesworth, otherwise known as Dr. Zebra. And the town soon went on to host something called the Slough Experiment, whereby concentrated efforts, including the use of yellow lines and new road signs, resulted in a 9% drop in fatalities and serious injuries. Meanwhile, the national figure had increased by 10%.
Their work is foundational, and road research across the world today is largely based on their work. But looking towards the future, with autonomous vehicles coming into the picture, Line markings on the roads will be very important because these vehicles will use these lines to read the road. So that is what pedestrianization is all about. It's about separating vehicles and people so that everybody's safe in their own sphere. And hopefully in the UK, cycle lanes become that safe in the future.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be called.
Possibly lions, tigers.
One local company, which would almost certainly be involved in any future road safety work, also had a part to play in the original zebra crossing almost 70 years ago.
Stephen, hi.
Hello, Tim.
Nice to see you.
And you.
So is this a family business?
It is indeed. It was started by my father in the 1950s. He got into the industry laying road markings in London because the government realised that twice as many people were dying in road accidents during the blackout than were actually being killed by German bombs.
Wow.
So there was a big push for road markings, and it just so happened that that company had the contract for the Slough area at the time. So the very first official crossing, my father was in attendance.
That's amazing history. And how did you get into the business?
I was about 6 years old when my father first took me out on a job in a car park. I had to start at the bottom, learning the trade, learning the manual tricks, which you're going to have a go at in a minute.
OK.
This should be interesting.
What do you call yourself? Are you an artist?
Just a road marker.
It's quite therapeutic to watch. Nice. Good work. I like it. Very good.
Cade made it look easy, didn't he? Tim's turn.
Have you got any tips for me?
Don't be too scared to put too much in.
It looked a lot easier when you were doing it, to be honest.
That's a lot better than some people's first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine's got some character, I think. Oh, no.
Whoops.
What do you reckon?
Not bad.
Gonna give him a top hat. There we are, what do you think?
It's certainly distinctive. From safety, back to shopping. Elsewhere in the Thames Valley, and close to that famous old river in the market town of Wallingford, where, amongst many a historic building, they have this former coaching inn, the Wallingford Antiques Arcade. Nice. Hetty's already down to just £85, of course, having rather splashed out last time.
I really like this vase, and it's by a company called Costa, which were actually the first glassworks in Sweden in the mid-1700s. So they've been going for a really long time. This vase is not that old, unfortunately. It's 1950s.
Ticket price £39.95p.
We see quite a few Costa vases coming through auction, and Costa Boda, which is what the company evolved into during the 1970s. So more often than not, you're going to see Costa Boda pieces of glass. This is by Costa. It's designed by Vicky Lindstrad, and she was actually the creative director of Costa between the 1950s and the 1970s. Now, this vase, it is very mid-century, but it's also very, very modern. It is slightly scratched on the inside. I really like this, but with the damage, I'm slightly hesitant. So I'm going to leave it there for now and have a look at what else the shop has to offer.
Hesitant old Hetty, eh? Good to take a look around, though. Rita's got the till ready, just in case.
This cake slice is very nice. Look how heavily embossed and detailed this is. Now, initially I'm thinking it's definitely not English. I think it's probably German or Austrian.
Ah, lovely.
You've got this lovely motif of this farmer here with two little sheep. There's all sorts going on, so many scenes. It's a really, really beautiful thing. The more you look, the more there is to look at and the more beautiful it gets. I'm just having a look to see whether it is marked, because it feels like silver. Now, I've got an 800 mark on it. The UK standard is 925. So 800 silver has less pure silver content and more alloy. But actually, for flatware, for spoons, for anything like this, cake slices, that's ideal because it's less soft. How much is on the price tag? That's the important question. £39.95, which I think is actually a really, really good price. It's early 20th century. It's a really nice thing. I can't stop myself looking at more beautiful, shiny things. I want to dive back in because I've just seen this. Look at that for a wonderful little novelty item. It's a tea strainer. It's definitely Victorian. The Victorians were really into their novelty. It was the age of invention, and they wanted to invent interesting things. And this is in the form of a bucket, which I think is really, really unusual. I don't think that it's silver. Just smell it. It smells a little bit too metally to be silver. So it's actually silver gilt. Let me have a look at it. £9.95 on the ticket. It's no money. Shall I put the two together and make a mixed lot? I think that's a good plan. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get both of these.
Although, with the vase as well, which she is definitely taking, that all adds up to almost £90, which is more than she's actually got.
Hello, Rita. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
I found 3 things that I like. That is priced at $39.95. That one is also $39.95. And that is $9.95.
Avril loves 95.
Does she? Could she do 60 by any chance?
Yes.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you so much. I'd love to shake your hand at 60. That's great, thank you.
Very amicable. 25 for the vase and 35 for the mixed lot, with just 25 left over. Time now for our pair to navigate towards each other once more.
Lovely weather, isn't it?
It is GR8.
GR8. We're in 2001.
NYN. That's 99, by the way. Next morning, Tim's got a certain identifiable glow about him.
Looking very brown today.
Thank you. Well, funny story.
Go on.
It's a bit embarrassing, but it quickly packed some moisturiser cream, and I put some on this morning, and I think I might have accidentally put some bronzer cream.
You have got a bit of a line going on, looking a little bit orange.
Never mind. Yesterday, our expert set about soaking up the antiques, although Tim's tan probably isn't related to his acquisition of this mid-century lamp, plus a granite mortar and a GPO clock,
I think this pretty much has my name on it.
leaving him with £70 to be going on with. While Hetty was even busier in the buying department, picking up some amber jewellery, a Swedish vase, a cake slice, a tea strainer, and a carousel horse.
Really want to take this to auction. In fact, I'd like it to take me to auction.
Meaning she now has only £25 in her wallet.
We couldn't have chosen a better day to be driving through the countryside, could we?
I know, I want to put the roof down.
That's a good idea. Maybe we should do that.
Careful, you might want to slap on some sun cream beforehand. Later, they'll be heading up to Banbury for their next sale room showdown, but first, Wendover. On the ancient Ridgeway Trail, where Tim has a shop all to himself. A Tudor building which apparently has its fair share of ghosts. £70 still available for spending, though, at Antiques at Wendover. Whoops!
Oh, that's lovely. Look at that. It's a really nice example of wax portraits. And back in the 18th century, this was quite a fashionable thing to have done. There was lots of wax portraits made of famous people like Napoleon, Wellington, kings like George III. And if you were very wealthy, you could actually commission your own wax portrait. And this was kind of like the step up from having a portrait painted, because you could have a loved one in 3D. So this Georgian lady, this is probably the closest you could ever get to actually seeing a Georgian person.
One famous artist in wax was Madame Tussaud, who founded her museum in Baker Street in 1835.
This one, you can look at all angles and see this beautiful lady sitting here. And you can see all of the lovely decoration. They've used a polychrome wax, so you've got all the different colours, and it's nicely framed up as well. The portrait miniature market is big. People love collecting portraits of people from the past. It's just such a wonderful part of social history. So this would do very well in auction. But if I'm looking at the price here, it's £550, which is a lot more money than I have in my kitty. But isn't it beautiful?
Sure is. Not much point in talking to Steve about her. Anything else? And on that note...
These are right up my street. A lovely pair of Georgian candlesticks. And what I love about these is often when you're walking around an antique shop, you'll see lots and lots of brassware. And these, yes, they might look like brass at a glance, but they're actually made out of bell metal, which is a type of bronze. And bell metal was made with a higher tin content, so the bell would ring. And also, at the time that bell metal was used predominantly, things like cannons were even made out of it, and that gave the distinctive sound when a cannon was fired.
Russian church bells often even include silver in the alloy to further enhance the peal.
These, I would say, date to around 1770 to 1780, and the influence is the Adams family, not the Adams family. This is William Adam. He was the great designer of the 18th century who moved away from sort of the more structured Georgian interiors and introduced a more neoclassical, fluid, floral interior, which then became very, very popular. And he influenced objects as well as interiors. And on these candlesticks, you can see these beautiful sort of swags around the top here, and then the floral leaves up the stems. Now, I think for a pair of bell metal candlesticks, £48 isn't overly expensive because they're not plain and, you could say, boring. These are a little bit more unusual and quite beautiful with the engraving as well. And condition, they are very good. So I think if we can do a bit of negotiation, they actually do stand a chance for selling quite well in an auction.
Selection made, nicely within budget as well.
Steve, hello.
Hello, Tim.
Hi. I've found these wonderful pair of candlesticks.
They are beautiful, aren't they?
You've got £48 on them, Steve.
Yeah. We can do 42.
Is there a bit of wiggle room on those, do you think? Can we squeeze it down to the round 40? Give me a chance.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah? Thank you very much.
Clear as a bell. With 30 left over in Wendover. Now, this is an unexpected development.
Tim has failed to pick me up in the Jag. Can you believe it? So I've had to resort to using this scooter. But this is equally good. It's green, it's sustainable, and the weather is beautiful as well. So I can't really complain. Who needs a Jag anyway when you can have one of these bad boys? Woohoo! I'm really enjoying this.
Ah well, where Hetty should be at this moment is here. Hopefully it won't take her too long in the very nice Oxfordshire village of Tetsworth, with an Elizabethan former coaching inn turned antique centre. Ah, there goes one of them at least. Looking relaxed, don't we think? But I'm not sure why. Seeking out antiques at the Swan is easy, of course, but paying for them when you only have £30, that is the tricky bit.
Now that is quite nicely carved, isn't it? Very beautiful with the open sort of scroll and fleur-de-lis design. It's a wall bracket, and a few reasons point to it being a continental piece. Firstly, the design and the wood it's made from. It looks like a sort of fruit wood. Originally, when this was first made, you would have probably had a pair and it would have gone either side of a fireplace or maybe an alcove. And you would have placed on top your maybe prized Chinese vases so everybody could see them as they walked in the room. And it's quite nice with wall brackets when you look at the top to see what sort of object would have sat on top of there all those years ago. I can't see any price on it. However, the reason I wouldn't personally want to take this to auction right now is that there is a bit of damage. It's missing one side here and then there's a chip here as well. And I think with things like this, condition does matter. I need to be careful not to just buy the first thing I see and like, because I need to keep my powder dry. I need to beat Hetty. Keep that in mind.
Not wealthy, but not wet either. Now, here comes his rival, bang on cue. And little does he know that she has even less cash at this point. Just 25.
Where have you been?
Oh, hello.
I was waiting for you in the Jag.
For what?
To pick me up.
Oh, was I meant to bring you?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, it's all right. I'm not annoyed about it.
How did you get here?
Do you like my hat?
Oh, it suits you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
How long have you been here for?
I've been here for quite a while, to be honest.
Tactful. Never mind. Plenty of time.
Quite like this. It's Chinese, definitely. It's heavily engraved, and this is actually made out of mother of pearl, which is a type of shell. I think it probably used to be a page turner.
Just £22.
Now, I'm just looking at the engraving on it. It's very ornately done, but I have just noticed that the top part of it has been cut off. So I would assume it's been broken and then remounted. So I don't think it's for me, unfortunately, but it is really beautiful to look at.
Yeah, that is a shame. Bang on budget and everything. Joe will be the man to hand the limited funds to, eventually.
I'm quite drawn to this because I used to be an animal portrait painter, and here we have a little sketch of 2 pigs. It's definitely Chinese. You've got what is either a signature or an import mark to the left-hand side here. It's just a really sweet little painting. I think they've captured their little faces quite well. They look like they're smiling.
Ticket price? Exactly what she's got.
It's quite strangely framed. We've got what looks like a bus timetable or something attached to the back of it, and then somebody's writing. But if I peel this back, it's done on some sort of parchment paper. There are a lot of nice things in this shop, but they are quite out of my budget, and this is £25. It's the rest of my budget. This painting speaks to me, and hopefully it's going to speak to somebody else at the auction, so I think it's coming with me.
Well, I see no just impediment.
Hello, Joe.
Hi, how are you?
I'm going to make this really easy for you. I like this. It's priced at £25. That's all I have left, so £25.
Bingo!
Thank you very much.
That's her nicely sorted.
Thanks.
Back to her chum.
Oh, these are dinky. Aren't these nice? These are miniature meat skewers, and normally when you find these, they're about almost a foot longer. They are dated 1910, so we know exactly when they were made, but these were actually used for game because skewers weren't necessarily for cooking the meat on, they were for serving the meat. So if you were having your partridge, perhaps, you would have it served up on these tiny little skewers. And I suppose even back then, they might have acted as a sort of novelty because they were a proper miniature version of the full-scale meat skewer that everybody was used to seeing. Now you could use one of those for opening a letter. You could have a paper knife.
Until letters become obsolete.
I've got 30 left in my pocket. I wonder if I go down to the desk and see whether I could take the 2 for 30. I'll definitely take one of them. But if I could get the pair and keep them together for £30, I think they could actually make a bit of a profit and all. So I think we might be in for a winner here. I really like these.
More not so big spending on the way.
Hi, Joe.
How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. I've ended up picking up 2 of the smallest things you have in the shop. Priced at £20 each.
Yeah.
But I have a problem in that I literally have £30 left. Do you think that could be done?
Yeah, no problem.
You're a gent.
And now he's also spent the lot.
Oh, there you are.
Here I am.
I thought you'd left without me.
No, I wouldn't do that to you.
Ouch!
Well, we've done well here, haven't we?
We have.
So shall we wander that way?
We shall.
OK.
Time to direct the motor towards the nearby sale room.
We're in quite a strange position now, aren't we? Because at 2-0, the next auction is actually almost as important as the final.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It will be. I'm quite nervous now.
Banbury, here they come. Shut eye first, though. Night-night. There should be little difficulty deciding what to have as a snack, either before, during, or after the auction here, because the Banbury cake is the slightly spicier southern equivalent of the Eccles. And Oxfordshire, Berkshire, Bucks and Oxon again have really been their cup of tea. Here at JS Fine Art, they'll be selling in the room, on the net and on the phone. With Joe Smith, our gaveler supreme.
Going at 60 and done.
And don't forget that in this best of 5 competition, Tim holds a 2-0 lead. Hetty spent all of her £200 on 5 auction lots. What's your red hot tip, Joe?
Lovely example, mid-20th century, brightly coloured. These carousel horses have always been popular. I think it should do very well in the sale today. Probably one of my favourite lots.
Tim also went for broke, the full 200 for his 5 lots.
Beautiful pair, Georgian Adam style candlesticks, ready to use condition, remnants of the pushers to the base, lovely sticks.
Thanks, Joe. Now, what about the mood of our bouncy pair?
I'm excited.
I am excited. The last leg has been great for antiques.
We bought some nice things.
Not least amongst them being Hetty's Gigi, under starters orders.
I have high hopes for this horse.
He's so colourful, isn't he?
He's so cool. I would love to have that in my house.
45, 55, 60 is it?
Oh, hello.
There's some bidders.
70 it is, 80, 80, 90.
They're climbing. They really want it, don't they?
100 anywhere.
Top it up to 100.
Anybody else now?
100.
You'll not find another like this.
Right now.
Not find another one like this. Never seen another one.
You might find one with a tail.
It's going to sell £100.
Doesn't have a mane either.
All done, going at 100.
Not exactly a mare, more of a dead heat.
I tried.
You did. It was a good go.
Tim's turn. His almost as expensive lamp.
It's very early to mid 20th century, sort of 30s industrial apartment feel to it. I paid, though, £85.
Okay, strong.
Strong, punchy.
10, 15 anywhere, 15, 25, 35, 40 online, 40.
Yeah, that's a good start. We need to keep it going.
Thought we'd be more, though, at £40.
Oh, no.
That's actually so cheap.
No.
Are we done?
I'm feeling a bit lightheaded.
£80. Oh, away she goes, selling at 40. £40.
That's painful. Are you okay?
Ouch.
Someone's got a lot of lamp for not very much money.
I don't really know what to say.
The other end of the scale now, Hetty's cut price amber lot.
It's not going to make any less than £20. I'm going to bet my house on it.
I'm okay. Right, how can I sabotage this?
10, 15, 20.
There we go, I'm not going to lose my house.
I was going to get a house out of this.
5 now at £30 a bit. Sure, and they'll sell at £30.
Profits at last. Very nice to see.
You know your jewellery.
Pleased with that. Yeah, I'm really pleased with that.
Tim's clock even got his name on it, remember?
Did you know the first speaking clock introduced into this country was nicknamed Tim?
Was it?
You had to dial 846 on a dial-up telephone that spelled Tim.
Oh, really? So this is your Tim clock?
Yeah, it's my Tim time.
£100 for it. 100.
100? Oh.
I'm bid £5.
Oh, we've gone from high to low here.
At £5.
No.
8 surely for this clock.
It's a whole clock.
Are we all done with it? At a maiden bid of £5 only.
I'm never looking at a clock again.
8, 10. 10.
That's a bit better.
15, is it? At £10 only. It's going to go.
I've got nothing to say.
All done at 10.
It wasn't Tim's time.
Tim's time's over.
Oh dear. Have a Banbury cake.
I'm never going to look at a clock again. I just have to ask for the time.
Yeah.
Because I've had it.
Hetty's Swedish vase is next. Looks nice, doesn't it?
So it's 1950s.
Okay.
It's a beautiful colour, ombre blue, very stylish. Nice bit of mid-century design. I have confidence in this one. So we'll
Good.
see.
I do too.
45 we start.
Yes.
45's the bid.
Wow, well
I
done.
really like it. It's very stylish.
At 45. 50 is it? At £45. It's online.
If someone else wants to bid, I'd be very
It's a
happy.
nice looking vase, isn't it?
Really nice.
It's going to go. 45. It sells. Are we all done? 45.
Core Hetty's auction experience is definitely perking up.
Good effort. I like it.
Good. I'm happy.
Tim's got at least one mortar to go. Sorry.
And when I found it, it was full of water. So I got rid of the water in the mortar, and then I bought it for a tenner.
£10? Okay, I'm a bit worried now.
15, 25.
25 straight in. Oh, I'm pleased.
30 now. Wood polish up if you want to use it indoors.
It would.
30 now. At £25.
I mean, I'm happy doubling my money, but I'd be happy for a bit more.
This time and selling it. 25 only. It goes.
Which, considering his earlier results, is quite an achievement.
I'm pleased with that. £15 profit.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Hetty's mixed lot now. Cake slice and tea strainer.
This could be your moment.
I hope so. I really like them.
Yeah.
I bought with my heart again.
Lots of bids.
Lots of bids.
But not much money.
Oh. He builds you up
My
and then lets you
hopes
down.
up.
5. 8 if you like. At 35.
Oh, should be more than that.
You're on the money. We need a little bit more.
At £35. It's 8 surely.
I think that's really cheap.
I'll lend you the money. £35. 8 anywhere at 35. All done. It's going to go. 35.
No actual losses so far for Hetty, though. And Tim's sonorous sticks are next under the hammer. The auctioneer liked them.
And I know they might not look much at a glance, but they are so on trend for the period. Oh, they're purist antiques. They're what I would want to have at home.
15, 20 is it now?
We've got a way to go, aren't they?
Yeah, way to go.
Surely more.
That is so cheap.
Come on.
20 is it? 20 we've got now. Where's 5? There it is. 25.
Creeping up.
25.
I'm quite invested in these.
25 pounds. The bronze isn't selling.
Not really been Tim's day so far, has it?
You look really sad. Oh, Tim.
I am actually genuinely upset.
Yeah, that was so cheap.
Hetty's last lot, her piggy pick. Squealy good or getting snout?
I bought a drawing, which is quite a rogue choice for me. It's not the sort of thing I would normally go for, but I was just quite drawn to them. I like pigs, and I like paintings. I used to be an animal artist.
Oh, right, okay.
5 only. 10 is it now?
£5. Oh, no.
At 5. 10 short.
Oh, no.
There's silence in the room,
This is
Hetty.
an actual disaster.
8 anywhere. 10. 10 it is now.
I had quite high hopes for this.
These little piggies have gone to market.
They have, and nobody wants them.
And nobody wants them.
At £10 only, it's gonna go.
Do you think it's safe to say it's not by a famous artist?
I think you might be right.
At £10.
They don't look at all bothered, do they?
Well, what can we say?
Wee all the way home. I don't know.
Finally, Tim's tiny silver skewers.
They're almost novelty, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really cute.
I mean, if you see a picture, you think this long.
Yeah.
But,
I hope they've written what size they are.
Oh, yeah, hadn't thought about
Find the full size one.
10, 15, 20. 5 is it now? 5.
Good stuff. Keep it going, keep it going.
25, not online. The bid's in the room.
Should be more than that.
25.
That doesn't seem the money.
£25. 28. 30. 30 it is now. 32 again if you like. Is it 32?
Oh.
32.
There you go.
34. 34 it is now. 34.
I've made £4.
You have.
But it'd be nice to have just a little bit more.
£34 and done. 34.
At least I didn't get skewered.
And it's always nice to end matters on a profit.
I'm not sure what the scores on the doors are on this one.
No. Should we go to the door and find out the scores?
We shall.
You lead the way.
Good plan. Results coming up. And Tim, after auction costs, has made quite a big loss, so he ends up with £109.88. While Hetty, also with sale room fees deducted, made a much smaller loss, leaving her with £180.40. So she is our victor today, which means it's game on, with 2 still to go.
Right, after you, winner.
Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that was a job well done.
I
personally.
had a lovely time. I don't know about you.
I did, but I think it's time for chips.
With cheese on that? Next time on Antiques Road Trip, coining it in.
I am a numismatist.
I love that word.
Yeah, and you don't even need a cream for it either.
Real rewards.
Haven't bought anything in the form of a fish before.
And new friends.
There is a market for creepy and quirky, and I think this chap's probably both of those things.